In general, no, don't record a session. Don't record a session, Siva.
Sure.
Don't record a session. I think we recorded 5 days free demo session. That's it. Finish.
Okay, sir.
Hi. So as I was telling you, the reason of me taking the examples, the variables, the classes, everything with respect to or to say banking application was going forward when I go for the Spring MVC framework. Okay, when I'm going to develop a customer relationship management project, after you understanding that project, when I go for the banking project source code, okay, you should able to relate whatever I have taught in core Java, Java 8, design pattern, Hibernate, Spring. Okay. Now, for an example, I'll just show you. Okay. So right click, start. So this is a banking project, which is similar to the Bank of America project, which I have developed. Okay. So if you go here, right now, if you see here, I'll just stop the sharing. I'm just giving an example. Okay. Now, if you see here, now, for an example, let's say I want to transfer the amount. Now, if you see here, I'm just giving a real-time example. Okay. Why the reason I was taking example on the real-time classes, real-time variable. Okay. Right. Now, if you see here, I'm transferring the amount from my account to somebody else's account, right? Continue. Right. So the amount got transferred, correct? Right, everyone? The amount is transferred from my account to somebody else's account, right? Correct? Same thing. Okay. If you go here, sign in. Okay. So I'll just try to. So let me just see how many users we have. Okay. So let's say, for example, Irshad. Okay. Irshad is there. So I want to transfer the amount from Irshad to Saurabh. Okay. For an example. So log out. Let me just log in with Irshad. Irshad at the rate Bank of America.com. Okay. I don't know whether I remember just on that MySQL workbench. Just see the users here. So Irshad saving account, irshad@gmail.com. So what is the password we have? Okay, Bank of America, Irshad 1234. So this is the login ID. Okay. ERSHAD @1234. Right. Now first check the balance. Okay. So balance is 5,000, correct? See here, login as Irshad. Okay. Now let's say Irshad wants to transfer the amount to his friend. For an example, let's say Avinash. Okay. So what is the account number of Avinash? This is the account number of Avinash. Okay. Control C. Fund transfer. Okay. Account number, amount, let's say 2,500. Okay. Routing. Now save it. Now, what was the previous balance of Irshad? 5,000. How much amount he's transferring? 2,500. What should be his updated balance? 2,500, correct? Right, everyone?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Now see here, log out. I'm just giving one example on this, okay? Why I was taking the example on the banking project. Report, all transaction report. So next, one transfer, previous, transfer report. Next, processing. Let's complete this and save it. Done. Now log in as a Irshad. ERSHAD @1234. Now see the balance. Correct? Right?
Yes, sir.
So that's the reason I was taking the example, the classes, the variables, everything with respect to the banking domain. I'm happy. If you want to learn with student, employee, animal, tree, or something like that, I'm happy. I don't have any problem in teaching that way as well. Okay. The only thing is that whether you're getting the concept or not is important. Domain and all those things, it doesn't matter. Okay. If you're understanding whatever I have taught you in the variables, I'm happy. If you're struggling to understand that, tell me, no, sir, this is the way you have to teach. I'm happy to teach that as well. Okay. Right. Now, let's go for the class. Okay. So as I told you, the class has some of the components like access specifier, class keyword, which is a must to declare or to define a class. Second, you have a class name which should be start with the we should start with the capital letter, and the body of the class will be surrounded by the curly braces. Okay. Right click, new folder, class in Java. Right click, new class. Okay. Now, so see here, I can give the name. Okay. EMPLOYE, employee. If you see here, I have an access specifier, a class keyword to declare a class, and a class name called employee, and a class name called employee. If you see very closely, I have given the first initial letter as a small letter. Yes, that's okay, fine. You can give that, but naming convention. Okay, Java suggests you to give the name of a class which must start with a capital letter. So I'll just change this to capital letter or uppercase letter. Now change this. Right. Now the fourth component, what? Body. The body of a class is surrounded by the curly braces. Now, if you see here, I have one curly brace here and I have another curly brace here. So this is how the syntax to declare a class. Again, as I have given the notes, a class can contain properties or variables. A class can contain methods. A class can contain constructor. A class can contain nested class. A class can contain a block. Can contain, okay? Am I clear, everyone? Am I clear? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, so let's declare the variable, okay? Declare variable. Declare variable. So what is syntax? Syntax to declare a variable. Syntax to declare a variable. So what is syntax? Access specifier. Again, this is not mandatory to declare a variable. If you are not declaring any variable with the access specifier, then the default access specifier will be appended. Right, everyone? I've already explained you that very clearly. Right. Access specifier, yes. Data type is must. Data type is must. So what is data type? Data type specifies what type and what size of data you're going to store in that variable, and then variable name. Right. Now, private long employee ID, private string employee name, private string employee department, private string employee designation, employee designation, designation, okay, private string employee address. Right. So what type of these variables are called as instance variable? Why it is called as instance variable? Because the variables I have declared inside the class, but outside the method body or constructor. That's why it is called as a instance variable. These all variables are instance variable. Now, generate setters and getters method, right click, source, generate getters and setters, select all, and then generate. Right. So you know very well, setters methods are used to set the value for an object or a variable, and getter method is to get the value from of an object or of a variable. Now, all these variables I have declared outside these method, outside these methods. So that's the reason I'm calling these variables as instance variable. Let's go for the static variable. Static variable. Static variable. Okay. Variable. Right. So how? Public static string company name. Company name equals to, let's go for Wipro Technologies. Right. So this is static variable. Now I have given the notes on static variable. A variable which is declared with the static keyword is called as static variable. Why it is called a static variable? Only a single copy of that variable will be created and will be shared with all the instances of that class. Now, you can access that variable using the object reference. No problem. You can access it. But you will get a warning message saying that, hey, please access the static variable in a static way. Now, what is the static way? You have to access the static variable with the class name. So, static variable, static method, static class will always be invoked using the class name. You remember, I have given one point on static variable. Static variables are also called as class level variable. When it going to get created? At the time of class loading. Whereas instance variable, it will be going to created only when you create the object using new keyword. So instance variables are created when the object is get created using new keyword. Static variables are created at the time of class loading, and local variable are created local variables are created only when you call or invoke the what? Method using the object reference. Clear everyone? Clear everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, so as I told you, a class can contain variables. A class can contain variables. A class can contain methods. Okay. Constructor, I'm going to teach you in my constructor topic. Okay. I'll declare one method. Okay. Declare method. Right. Now let me write one method: public void display employee info. Open bracket, close bracket. Now go for it. SYSO employee details. Right. Now SYSO employee employee ID plus employee SYSO employee name plus employee name SYSO employee department employee department plus department SYSO. So employee employee designation. So plus employee designation SYSO. Then I have what? Employee address employee address. So plus emp address. Right. So a class can contain variable, can contain methods, can contain constructor, can contain nested class, can contain block. Here, if you see, I have only declared two things: variables and methods. Correct? Right? Variables and methods. I have not used constructor. I have not used block. I have not used nested class. All these things I'm going to cover in my coming session. Okay. Right. Now I have declared one class called employee having these properties, these variables, along with setters and getters methods to set the value and to get the value, and one method called display employee info, which is going to display the details of each employee or every employee. Right. Control S. Now create an object. So right click, new class, employee details, public static void main, finish it off. Now, the execution of the program in Java starts with main method. Okay, the execution of the program will start with main method in Java. Now, what is the main method? What is this void? This is a return type, which will not going to return anything. Static, because as I told you, without object creation, you can call the method. Public, yes, the main method should always be a public. There is a reason. When I'll go for the method topic, I'm going to teach you what is the method prototype, declaration, parameters, and the component of a method you should take into consideration when you go for the method declaration. Okay, right. Now create the object. Create the object for employee employee class. Now syntax, to create the object. Syntax to create the object. Now, how? Class name, object name equals to new class name. This is actually called as default no argument constructor. We have two types of constructor. One is no arg default constructor. The other one is your parameterized constructor. Now, what is constructor? What is the use of constructor? I'll going to explain you in my constructor topic. Right. Now, what is my class name? Employee. EMP1 equals to new employee. Employee EMP2 equals to new employee. Employee EMP3 equals to new employee. Right. So I have created three objects of a class. Now, I have given you the definition about a class. A class will have group of objects having common properties. A class represents a group of objects having common properties. Now, employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. These are all objects. These are all objects. And can I say this employee 1, employee 2, employee 3 are group of objects? Can I say employee 1, employee 2, employee 3 group of objects? So which class? Employee. So as per the definition of class, a class represents a group of objects, having common properties. So employee 1 will have employee ID, employee name, employee designation, employee address. Employee 2 will have employee ID, employee name, employee department, employee designation, employee address. Employee 3 object will have employee ID, employee name, employee designation, employee address, and employee department. So every object, employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, sharing the same common property. What are those properties? Employee ID, employee name, employee department, employee designation, employee address. So as per the definition of the class, I am following the same rule to create the object of a class. And a class is nothing but a group of objects having common properties. The other definition is a class is a blueprint to create the object. Yes, you can see here at line number 9, 10, 11, I am creating the object employee 1 of class employee using new keyword. Now, there are 5 different ways to create the object in Java. If you see here, right. So using new keyword, using new instance method of class, using new instance method of constructor class, using clone method of object class, and using serialization and deserialization. So these are the only 5 ways with which you can create the object in Java. So one of the first way I'm using is creating the object of employee class using new keyword. Now set the value for each object using setter methods. Right. Now set the value, call setter methods to set the value of an object / or of variable. Right. Employee 1 dot set employee ID 101, employee 1 dot set employee name, employee 1 dot set employee department QA, employee 1 dot set employee designation, employee 1 dot set employee address. I'm just giving some address, okay? HYDE Hyderabad, okay? Address. Right. Now set the value for employee 2 dot set employee ID. So 102 employee 2 dot set employee name, employee 2 dot set employee department, employee 2 dot set employee designation, employee 2 dot set employee address. Vijay. Right. Now set for the employee 3 dot set employee ID, employee 3 dot set employee name, employee 3 dot set employee department, employee 3 dot set employee designation, employee 3 employee 3 employee 3 dot set address. Right. Now I have set the value for employee 1 object, employee 2 object, employee 3 object using the setter methods. And also I have written one method called display employee info. In which class? Employee class. So as I told you that once if you create the object of a class, you can access the setters and getter method and all the instance variables along with your methods. Now let me display the employee info. Now let's me go for it. SYSO. Okay. So company name. Oh, this has to be, I'm not sure whether I can access it or not. Dot company name. Right. Now go for it. So EMP1 dot display employee info. EMP2 dot display employee info. EMP3 dot display employee info. Control S. Now right click, run as Java application. Got it, everyone? Right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is a class? A class is a blueprint to create the object. A class will have, or what to say, a class represents a category. A class will have a group of objects having common properties. So if you see here, employee 1, employee 2, employee 3 sharing the same property. What are those properties? Employee ID, employee name, employee department, employee designation, employee address. All the objects are sharing the same common properties. So a group of objects, a class represents a group of objects having common properties. Am I clear, everyone? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Stop the server. Right. Let me stop the server. So this is why I was giving the real-time examples, classes and everything, so that you can correlate with that project. So, right. So any questions, whatever the questions I have, whatever the things I have taught you, like I have taught you variables, I have taught you what are the different variables we have in Java, okay, and a class. If you have any questions, please ask me. It could be of anything, okay? It could be of variable, it could be of class, it could be of anything, whichever I have explained you till now. Any questions? Please ask me. Am I clear with the class?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. So take heading as objects in Java. Objects in Java. Objects in Java. New folder. OPJACT. Object in Java. Right. Now, there are two things you should know about object, okay? How we can create the object in Java and how we can initialize the object in Java. So first we will see what is object. Then we will see in how many ways we can create the object. And then we will see in how many ways we can initialize the object, okay? So first I'll create one package, one folder. So right click, new folder. So this is object creation. Object creation. Object creation. Right click, new folder. Object initialization. Initialization. Right. Right. So object creation and object initialization. So first you have to know what is an object, okay? Right. An object is a real world entity. An object is a real world entity. An object is a real world entity that has state and behavior. First take the notes, then I'll going to explain you, okay? An object is a real world entity that has state and behavior. Full stop. In other words, comma, in other words, comma, an object is a tangible thing. In other words, comma, an object is a tangible thing that can be touched and feel. In other words, comma, an object is a tangible thing that can be touched and feel. That can be touched and feel, comma, like car. Car is an object, correct? So car is an object. You can touch, you can feel that car, okay? So like a car, or like a car, comma, pen, or chair, etc. Or chair, etc. Or chair, etc. So you can touch the pen, you can feel the pen.
You can touch the chair. You can feel the chair. You can touch the car. You can feel the car. So these are all objects or chair, etc. are the example of objects. Are the example of objects. Following, next line, full stop, next line. Following are the characteristics of an object. Following are the characteristics of an object. Following are the characteristics of an object. Number one, state. 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 It represents, it means state. State represents the data. State represents the data bracket value, bracket value, bracket value, bracket close of an object. Of an object. Of an object. So it has three characteristics. Number one, state. State represents the data bracket value bracket close of an object. Number two, behavior. B-H-V-I-O-R, behavior. It represents behavior. It represents the functionality. It represents the functionality. It represents the functionality bracket behavior. It represents the functionality bracket behavior of an object. Of an object. Of an object. Of an object. Such as top speed of car. If you want to get the top speed, that is a functionality, that is a behavior. So every car will have different behavior, correct? Right? Every car will have different behavior. Now, if I talk about the top speed of Verna, I think 100, 120. Whereas if I go to BMW or Mercedes, the top speed of those cars are like 220 km per hour. So likewise, it's a behavior. So how the car behaves, what is the functionality of a car? So top speed, automatic steering, these are all the features of a car. So for example, top speed of a car. Now, is it a manual or automatic? That's also functionality, correct? Functionality of a car, right?
Yes.
So you can get it in a automatic model, or else you can also get in a manual model. That is also one of the functionality of the car. The third one is identity. Third one is identity. 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 An object's identity is typically an object's identity is typically an object identity is typically implemented an object's identity is typically implemented via a unique ID via a unique ID full stop the ID value is not visible the ID value is not visible the ID value is not visible to the external user the ID value is not visible to the external user full stop. However, comma, it is used internally, however, comma, it is used internally by the JVM, it is used internally by the JVM to identify each object uniquely. However, comma, it is used internally by the JVM to identify each object uniquely. Now, as I told you that these are the characteristic of an object. State represents the data. Behavior represents the functionality. Identity represents the unique ID. Now, I hope you might, anyone, I don't know, okay? You might have seen that. Let's say if I take an example of a car, okay? Let's say Hyundai car only or Tata car, okay? Tata Motors car. Now, you know very well, every car will have chassis number, correct? Right? Every car will have chassis number.
Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about model number. I'm talking about chassis number.
Yes.
Now, can you see the color of a car? Can you see the color of a car?
Yes.
Color. Okay. Can you see windshield? Windshield means the glass in front of the driver.
Yes.
Right. But can you see the chassis number?
No.
You can see the car number, car registration number.
Yes.
Car registration number is different. Chassis number is different. Now, when you can see the chassis number? Only when you open the bonnet of the car, correct?
Yes, sir.
Everyone following?
Yes.
You can see the chassis number only when you open the bonnet of the car. On the engine, you will get the chassis number. What is the use of the chassis number? With that chassis number, the Tata Motors will keep the track record, correct? Right? When that car is manufactured, which year it is manufactured, which model it is, correct? Right? That is a unique ID, correct? That's a unique chassis number, correct? It will not be shared with all the Tata Motors car, right? Every car will have a unique chassis number. With that chassis number, you can easily come to know which model, which brand, what is the year of manufacturing, right? What is the brand, everything, correct? Can you see the chassis number? No, you cannot see that. It is hidden from the external user. But internally, the Tata Motors will have the record of that car, correct? Right?
Yes, sir.
Right, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, when you create the object, a unique ID will be created for that object. So internally, JVM will identify the object using that specific unique ID. Now, to understand that, you should know what is JVM. So JVM, stands for Java Virtual Machine. It has three specifications. One, class loader. Second, memory management area. Third, execution engine. So each of the specification, I'll going to give you the first architecture diagram of JVM, then the specification of the JVM. Then you will come to know, okay, this is what happens internal in the JVM. So we have class loader, one of the specification. We have memory management area. So in that you have class area, heap area, stack area, PC register, native method area. All this comes under memory management. Execution engines, where the actually it will going to execute your code. Now I'm going to explain you that little later after completing my methods constructor, so that you will be able to understand first what is static variable, what is variable, where it is stored, what is method, what is object, where it is stored, what is class area, what it is going to store. I'm going to explain you in my JVM technical architecture diagram. So far as of now, what is class? A class is a group of objects having common properties. It is a blueprint to create the objects. Class keyword is a must to declare or to define a class. A class name can start with small letter, but the naming convention is you have to start the class name with the uppercase letter. And the class body is surrounded by the braces. So that's about class. And as I told you, class is a logical entity. It's not a physical. It will not occupy the memory. So something which occupies the memory is nothing but your, physical entity. It is not going to store, or it will not going to have any memory. So that's the reason a class is a logical entity, not a physical entity. Whereas object, yes, object occupies some memory. Now let's assume you have a bedroom. In bedroom, let's say you have a chair. So definitely chair will occupy some space in that room, correct? Right? The chair is an object. It will going to occupy some space in your bedroom, correct? So object is a physical entity. What are the characteristics of an object? Object have state, which is nothing but represents the data or value of an object. Behavior, nothing but functionality. Now what is the functionality of a chair? You will sit and you will get relaxed, correct? There's a functionality, correct, of a chair. You cannot play cricket with a chair, right? Correct? What is the use of chair? What is the functionality of a chair? What is the behavior of a chair? You sit and you'll relax. So there is a functionality. There's a behavior of a chair. Now every car, if I talk about identity. So identity is nothing but a unique ID with which the JVM will distinguish between the objects. It cannot be seen by the user. It is hidden from the user. So internally the JVM will use that unique ID Okay, to distinguish the different objects. So that is all about your objects. Now, where the object is stored, where the objects are stored. Yes, objects are stored in heap memory, heap area. Now, to understand what is class area, what is heap area, what is stack area, what is PC register, what is native method stack, you have to understand the technical architecture diagram of JVM, which I'm going to cover once I'm done with the methods and constructor. So with that, you'll be able to know what is variable, what is class, what is method, what is constructor. Then you can easily relate, oh, objects are stored in heap memory. Class area will store the class per structure. Native method stack, whatever the method application you will going to write, it will go to store in the native method stack. So all these things you will understand once I explain you the technical architecture diagram of a JVM. Okay, so with that I'm ending my today's session. Let's meet tomorrow same time 10 a.m. We'll continue discussing about object in details. Then we'll go for how to create the objects in different ways in Java. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.